Hey everyone, Professor T here. I wanted to take just a quick minute to go over the things you should be aware of before you decide to use AI while in school. I want you to ask yourself one question the next time you're thinking about using AI to save some time or cut some corners. What are you going to tell the friends or family of a patient that you injure or even allow to die because you relied on AI to pass your classes and never really learned the necessary skills?
Oh, absolutely. Again, I have to read a lot of reports from nurses, and you can tell the ones who have not focused on their studies. They don't write well, they cannot communicate well. Sometimes it's almost embarrassing reading some of the stuff that they communicate with to the doctors. One of the big ways to communicate with doctors is through nursing notes. And if you haven't taken your studies seriously and really focused on proper English, grammar, and how to formulate a sentence or a paragraph, you can look bad in front of a lot of people. So yes, I can definitely tell when someone has not taken their studies seriously.
Clear and accurate communication is one of the most important things we can have. We have very complex jobs. There's always time to ask clarifying questions. So many times we avoid problems when we ask that clarifying question. In healthcare, a lot of times we get busy, and if you can stop and say, hey, let's have a timeout and make sure what we're really doing is the appropriate thing, that's probably the most important thing we do, is make sure that the orders the physician gives or anybody else get carried out accurately.
They're not going to know exactly what to do. If they're like different skills and they've cheated or done AI, they're not going to know exactly how to do that skill.
First is knowledge to do your job. You need to have time management and be able to prioritize things that need to be done. You need to be respectful of differences. That includes people's beliefs, their approach to practicing their medicine or their trade, and people's different outcomes, goals of their care. You need to be aware of what you can give to a patient and those around you and set limits.
If you learn to use AI when the going gets tough and every time you're a little bit stressed and you need a little bit of help with your homework, that's going to translate into the workplace as well. But what happens when you cut corners in the workplace and you're taking care of a patient? What happens when there's a code blue or something similar where there's an emergency and it's all hands on deck and you were there trying to save someone's life?
Often we have codes, we have mental health events for patients and staff. Just being overwhelmed with the number of things you have to do. If you haven't practiced, you'll find yourself in the middle of chaos, which makes it really hard to think through the situation, what needs to be done. At times you're so busy that you won't have the habits or the muscle memory to just do the basic things so that you can actually take the time to evaluate the situation, and you won't learn critical thinking skills.
AI is obviously a really great tool to use, but the important thing is to know when, where, and how you can use it. It's important to remember that the issue with AI is not if you can use it, but knowing when and how to use it. And if you are going to use AI, specifically ChatGPT or another AI tool like that, you must cite your work just as you would any other source. I will place the link to the APA style website here that covers exactly how you're going to be citing ChatGPT or any other AI. So be sure to take a look at this in more detail. I'm not going to go through every single part of it, but you'll see that you can cite AI just like you would any other source, whether it was from YouTube, a journal article, a magazine, an encyclopedia, and so on. And depending on how you use AI, the citation options will be slightly different. So if you're considering using it for something productive, I encourage you to take a look at the link that will be in the description of this video that will take you here, and study this so that you don't need to worry that if you're using it, you're not using it properly and you're not citing it correctly. How and when you use AI to help you in your writing, either an essay or an email or letter or anything like that, but specifically within the context of school and class settings, that's really up to you and your specific needs. It should not be a crutch or something that you use to basically start your entire paper and you just fill in the gaps, but it can kind of help you get your ideas flowing and give you some sort of general structure to work with if you are having trouble coming up with some ideas or want to see an example of something laid out. While this example is by no means comprehensive and it will not necessarily apply to every single class you have, if you're in an introductory or 300 level English course and you have an essay and that essay is on something of your choosing, sometimes it's technology and how that's affecting learning, it can be interesting to use AI not as a way of writing your paper, but really sort of helping to get a discussion flowing. So I'm going to just type in a prompt here and show you what can happen. I have not done this before, so I'm going to be doing this sort of as a live reaction, but this is a way that you can consider using AI to your advantage. So let's take a look at a prompt. I'm going to ask AI, so let's ask AI how it thinks it's going to be used in education over the next few years. This is actually a really interesting question from a personal perspective, and it applies to every single student, but it's interesting to see what technology itself says technology is going to do in the educational field. So I'm not going to read every single thing here. Feel free to just pause the video if you want to see and read its actual answers. But AI is being self-aware here and saying how it views it's going to be used in the future. So if you're doing a paper on how technology affects children and their development or anything like that, this type of question will actually be really interesting because you could work this into your essay and analyze AI's response to how AI is going to be used. So this is an example of using AI for something productive that's not plagiarizing, it's not cheating, and it's adding to the discussion. Another great way to use AI is to help you overcome writer's block. Let's say you're writing a paper on diabetes or the effects of technology on children's development, and you have a really great thesis, but you just don't know where to go next. You can actually use AI to help see how you can structure your paper to make it flow logically, because I know a lot of students tend to have a good idea but not really know how to get that idea down. So let's just take one of those ideas and see what ChatGPT has for us. So we're going to ask it about diabetes, and let's say we're going to have it write a 3-page paper on treating diabetes. And then you will get more or less, obviously it's not formatted in APA style, but you'll see the overall flow of how a paper could be structured, and you can look and see each one of these sections, and this can give you ideas on how to connect the information together. Obviously you can't just copy and paste this, but you can see, okay, once I have my thesis, then lifestyle modifications, then prescriptions and pills, the new therapeutic options and conclusions. You can look at these and see how these connect together, and that might help give you the spark that you need to create your own ideas based on your own thesis. So when you're writing, if you ever get stuck, see what AI might suggest or how that would deal with that situation, and then run with it from there. Because remember, at the end of the day, every assignment you do, everything you do in school, whether it's a clinical or a paper, is to help you develop the abilities you need to connect with patients, their families, and your coworkers. And by using AI like this, it's going to help you develop your own ideas and continue to progress throughout your schooling and into your career. Remember, it's not always bad to use AI. It's just important to know when, where, and how. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing in a healthcare setting is you. Your skills, your abilities, your talents, and your compassion. And AI can't help you with that. That's something you work on, you train, you learn, and you develop. You are what's important, so don't forget that anytime you're in school and beyond.
Oh, I think if you're looking for an easy way out, you're going into the wrong profession. You better not be looking for an easy way out, because this is not an easy job, and what you have to remember is that these people's lives are in your hands. We have patients from a wide range of diseases, injuries, illnesses, and wide range of ages, and every one of them deserves the very best care that you can give.